We will be talking about long distance relationships and marriages. Is it sustainable? And if it is, what can people do to actually get that relationship going? And, keeping that spark in the relationship when your spouse is obviously not too close to you. So long distance relationships and marriages, and whether it is sustainable or not. As usual, I have got is that trio, the favorite trio right here this evening. I have Selassie right here with us in the studio. Selassie Washington Kujo. Welcome to the Bedtalk show.
Thank you, Adwoa. Hello, listeners.
Selassie, it looks like we haven't had you in a while.
It's just been 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks. It feels like it's been so long. Welcome back to the Bedtalk show.
Thank you.
And hey, Chris, welcome to the Bedtalk show.
Thank you very much.
So that is Chris Decker again. He does not need an introduction, both Chris and Selassie. As we know, like I always say, we are all part of the furniture in the studio. And so, yes, as always, we are delighted to be here to serve you and to hear your comments and your questions and what you've got to say. And a little that we can add or we can contribute, we are here to do just that for you. So thank you once again for tuning in. As I said earlier on, I'm talking about long distance relationships and impacts that it has on relationships. I did said earlier on that, while you go into a marriage and you didn't imagine when you were saying I do that you would be apart because of one reason or the other. It could be due to immigration problems or work or family commitments, but then you find yourself, living apart from each other. How do you sustain this relationship? Is it workable? Is it doable? Is it sustainable? Well, we will see. So, Chris, Selassie, what are your thoughts on long-distance relationships and long-distance marriages? What are your general thoughts on it?
I would say that the way the world is now, long-distance marriages or relationship is inevitable. So it is when you are involved in a romantic, intimate relationship between partners, but you are geographically separated from each other and you don't have face-to-face contact, and there is that geographical separation. So nowadays, because of work and other things, it's the norm. Some people have to go through that, but I will say that it is sustainable if both of you are committed, because this is the position you find yourself in. Let's say when you marry, you didn't have that. You were together, but because of job or because of other factors, you have to move away from each other. It can be for a long period of time. It can be for a short period of time, but that is the truth of the matter. That is when you have to take steps to really maintain your relationship.
Selassie, you did say that it's the norm. When you say it's the norm, does that mean that a lot of people are going through that?
I would say yes. It's a lot because of work. It's like people are traveling for work and the rest, the military, and there are other reasons why it happens. Because normally, I would say that when you marry, you just you expect to be with your spouse, but now people are managing well because of better communication. So people are doing it and it's working.
Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
Right. I think long distance relationships it's a very difficult one. Personally, I don't think I could ever be in a long distance relationship. I'm not very good with series. I'm not very good at keeping, doing the same sort of thing on a very daily basis. So personally, it is something that I don't think I can do.
Right.
I think it's a very difficult thing to do. But as Selassie was saying, if it is something that both of you are committed to the relationship, then it is workable. I would also say that if you married for the right reasons, then it is possible that you can commit to it, no matter the distance or no matter the gap between you. because these days in our time, a lot of people are settling down for the wrong reasons, and so it makes even living together become very difficult.
Yeah.
So how much more living apart? And as an adage says, nature abhors vacuum.
Yeah.
So if you have settled down for the wrong reasons, it is very possible that a long distance relationship would not be good for you. Because if you settle down for the wrong reasons and you're living together, then there's the likelihood that as you dwell together, you do things together, you fellowship together, you can bond, and then maybe the story will change, or the story will turn around. But if you're living so far apart and you're trying to work this, it will become a difficult thing to do. But it's workable. It is still workable.
So would you say that long distance relationship is much more difficult to deal with than being together?
Some people would say that long distance relationships are good because I'll give you a typical example. I am sort of related to a couple who were in some kind of long distance relationship.
Okay.
The lady was living here in the UK, and the man, because of work, had to live in Ghana, and so much so that his work takes him away from normal daily life.
Wow.
For 28 days. He comes back to normal life for 28 days and then goes back. You see, it's like 28 days on, 28 days off. So when he's off, he can come and visit. And sometimes maybe he's got paperwork to do at office, so maybe he can take about a week, so he come and spend some of the 28 days with the family and then go back for 28 days. And I remember one of them passed a comment that the person is not constantly in your face.
Okay.
So then in that sense, the relationship should be sweet, because every time you see each other, it's all lovey-dovey.
Yeah, because you kind of miss each other so much and all of that.
But there are people too that 28 days apart, what is happening? Hey.
Yeah. But they say that absence makes the heart grow fonder.
It does. Adwoa, this is why I say cautiously.
Yeah.
If you are in love or you have married for the right reasons,
it makes a whole lot of difference. It can make a lot
of difference. But if you are in this for the wrong reasons, if you did not get your fundamentals right, because having a happy marriage is all about getting the fundamentals right. And if you do not get these things right and you settle down with somebody that you're not supposed to, somebody that you wouldn't have dreamt of settling down with, but for that reason, I don't know what reason it could be, but for that reason,
a reason or something.
So then it will make it difficult to work through it, because even if you're together, what happens? Because you have settled down for the wrong reasons and you are living together, what are some of the challenges you'll be having? How much more you being apart?
Actually, that makes sense. And like you said, the foundation is very important. It's core. But then on the other hand, again, like you said, if you married for the wrong reasons, right? Wouldn't being apart also be able to probably then help? Because like you're not in my face all
that was
the
what
time.
I was about to
So because we are not really like compatible,
exactly.
when we are together, we are always arguing. Maybe that life apart.
You see, that life apart. But like I said, nature abhors vacuum.
Yeah.
Do you know what is going to happen? If you are not in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
You're not in this because of love, because of good reasons why people normally should settle down.
Yeah.
What is going to happen is that there are times you even forget you have a spouse somewhere that you should be ringing. There are times a time when you should be having that intimate video call conversation. There's that possibility that you could be having it with somebody else.
But Chris, in this nowadays, that people are really calculated and everything. I can be in that relationship for the wrong reason. I can be calculated, make time for the video call. You are not in my face. There is that long distance, and I can still live my separate lives.
So therefore, you are doing it as a routine. And not out of love.
Yes. So because you married for the wrong reasons.
That is the other thing that we need to clarify. That's the other thing that,
of course.
Are you doing it out of love or out of,
it is even possible that this example Selassie is giving, somebody is setting an alarm to remind them.
Yes.
But mind you, marriage is not meant for you to endure. It is meant for you to enjoy. So if you're going to set an alarm to remind you to call your spouse, then there is something not quite right.
Personally, that person who has that goal for marrying, the person is fulfilling that goal. If that's the wrong reasons. It's a goal. I'm marrying this person because of ABCD. Once that thing is being fulfilled in his or her life, I am fulfilling it. I'll set the alarm. I'll do it as a routine. I'll do it as a chore.
Okay, let's look at marrying for the purpose of having your stay regularized, right? Now you are faking it to make it. Okay, so you are setting the alarms, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. When you get your papers, what would happen?
You've achieved your aim, so then you proceed and do the divorce or separate. That's it. Because you've achieved your aim.
Don't forget that in these circumstances, you don't tell the other party that this is why I'm marrying you.
It's very bad. It sounds very bad.
It sounds bad.
But that was my aim, and I have achieved my aim. To hell with you.
Okay.
That's it.
Adwoa, in this discussion, we are not going to go into all of these semantics.
I think that we need to create a topic for diversion as well.
But I'm looking at long distance relationship.
When you are in love with a person,
and when you see, there are two dichotomies to this. When you are in love with a person, and the kind of things you would automatically and willingly do, it will come. Some things will come naturally if the love is sweet, if the relationship is good. And some things too will be forced if the relationship is not good and it's not. You did not get your fundamentals right, and you are in for the wrong reasons. I mean, I don't want us to go, and it might take us away from the topic that is being discussed.
We are sticking to the relationship. Being in love, being in a committed relationship, married for the right reason, but due to factors beyond your control, you've gone away. Apart.
Exactly. Okay. But it sounds interesting. It looks like you're giving me another topic where we can actually diverge and get into all the different spheres of this conversation as well. But for now, keeps your dial locked in. We will be right back.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Gwenton Slowly, supporting all family and young people.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bit.
Salad, fruit and orange.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum and Abeye Bonsu. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. They've got to find those extra cups to fill. They've got an awful lot of coffee in Brazil. Mixpiration with Bright every Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. is just fun. It's exciting. It's a mix of contemporary R&B and pop gospel music right here on ABN Radio. Enjoy great tunes every Sunday evening with Bright on Mixpiration, a blend of great inspiring songs just for your Sunday evening relaxation. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
One of the main reasons I carried the knife was I didn't want to feel weak. One time, a car pulled up and the guys jumped me. After that, I just wanted revenge. One evening outside the guy's house, I was just sat there thinking, do I do this? I have to be prepared to do life. I took another path and that led me into mixed martial arts. It's really helped me overcome self-doubt. I'm knife free since 2015. Visit knifefree.co.uk.
We're online, DAB, and the ABN Radio app.
So welcome back to the Bedtalk show with moi, Adwoa, Armah-Appiah. We are live on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan station. And in the studio with me right here is Selassie and Chris Decker. And yes, talking about long distance relationships and the impacts it has on the individuals. Is it sustainable? Is it doable? I think we've had two different, aspects of it. Selassie thinks it's doable, it could be easy. Chris, on the other hand, says, as for me, I cannot do it. However, he did say that it's doable as well. Now, Chris, Selassie, talking about this, do you think that it also has to do, does it test the trust that the couples have for each other, being apart?
I would say that yes. Let's say if you're married and then your spouse have to travel, or that distance has come between the two of you. I would say before you even accept the job, you have to assess the depth of your marriage, how you trust each other, because you just don't take the job or you just don't move away knowing that you have issues, because you have to be so sure and so your relationship has to be so firm and grounded. If not, let's say you have issues and you just go, it draws you further away. But if on trust issues, you have to work at it, because were there issues of trust in your relationship before you got that job?
Yeah.
So if there were issues of trust, you didn't trust each other, and then you take on, and that distance come between the two of you, that means that it's going to further draw you apart. It is going to further make you not to trust each other. So in that case, how are you going to deal with it? What were the issues? Are you going to deal with it? Are you just going to take the job, or are you going to move away and think that, because at times we tend to sweep things under the carpet in relationship when it comes to trust. So you have to assess your relationship. Know that me moving away for this couple of years, this couple of months will not have that impact on my relationship. Do I value my career more than my relationship? These are the things that couples need to frankly talk about and see, because I don't think that it's fair on a couple for one person to take that decision, because you are not in the relationship with yourself. It's between you and me. So we have to discuss it. I mean, things has to be said as frankly as it can be said.
Yeah.
And then based on that, you take the decision, because I'm not there, you are not here. Trust, there has to be trust. We have to trust each other so that I know that when you are away from me for these couple of years, these couple of months, whatever you say you are doing, I trust in you, I believe in you.
Because I'm thinking that there are certain professions that you cannot help. traveling. It is part of, especially if you work with the likes of the UN. Sometimes you'll be moved from Ouagadougou to Gambia, from Gambia to Switzerland and what have you. And maybe because of the kind of job that your spouse is also doing, he or she cannot move along with you. So that is one of the aspects that we have to look at. If you are in the military and you get sent to Afghanistan, okay, that I think with that, people get a bit comfortable because you know that they are on the battleground. So they won't be actually doing anything naughty. But isn't it true that sometimes you don't even know?
And what about the one who's being left behind?
It's both ways.
You're right.
It's both ways.
It's not only the person in Afghanistan.
Because I'm thinking that sometimes you don't even realize that you are the jealous type until that situation arises. When you are so far apart, and then now your mind start playing games on you. What's he doing? What's the time now? I've called him 2 or 3 times. He hasn't picked up his phone. What's happening? Where is he? Why isn't don't these things kind of creep up?
It creeps up, but for a long distance relationship to work, you have to put measures in place. You have to put things together that would help you to really maintain that relationship. You're talking about phone calls. Maybe your spouse is in a job that they can't use their phone on the job, and you have a good news to share to them. You know that I'm leaving this message, knowing that when he or she receives it at whichever time, the person is going to respond. You have to know the work schedules and everything. For it to work, you have to. It has to be planned. You cannot just say my spouse is even time zone, the time difference and everything. You can't just say that, oh, I've seen this cute dress and I've taken a selfie and I want to show it and I've sent him a picture and he has not responded. What is he doing at that time? All these things we have to think about it carefully. If we really want to be involved in long distance relationship, we can't do things just anyhow.
Yeah. But the thing is, sometimes it's not by choice that you are in that long distance relationship.
So you know it's not by choice. This is where I find myself. We married, we were together, but my spouse has to move away. What are we going to do? How best are we going to manage this situation?
Wow. Chris, what have you got to learn this one?
The thing is that, Adwoa, marriage as it stands is a very difficult one. And if you are not married and you have to be apart, it makes it even difficult. But because I think that marriage is the highest point any relationship can go to. I don't think there's anything beyond marriage. So a couple being married, for me, I think that it should bring you some form of security, some form of assurance that this person is committed to me and I'm committed to her. But then again, people could be married and could still not trust each other. So, like Selassie rightly said, if there are underlying issues already before you separated or before your jobs had to take you, if there are people who gets married and right from the word go, their relationship is such that, well, I know I'm getting married to a seaman, so he's going to be away. So that is, I mean, you know what you're signing up for. And so then maybe it will not be so difficult, because even when you were dating, you know this is a seaman. He goes away 2-3 months before he comes back. Or I'm married to a soldier, he goes to the battlefront every now and again. Or I'm married to a flight attendant who travels maybe. You could also be married to a lorry driver who goes away 4 or 5 days before coming back. So the job can take people away. But then again, if you trust each other already, the trust is already there, then it won't be too difficult, because or even if all these examples I have given, you did not sign up for a relationship where you will be living apart. But circumstances, as soon as you got married, maybe I'm married to Selassie. As soon as we got married, Selassie got a promotion which will be taken away from me for maybe 2-3 weeks, sometimes 4 months.
It's not something that you actually signed up for, but then it's crept up on you.
That's right. But if the basis of the trust is already established, then I shouldn't have a problem with her going away. But then again, if you have that relationship where when your spouse gets a phone call, you want to check who is calling her, who is texting her, what's going on, where are you? Even at the time when we're living together, I still can't have the peace of mind that you are going out and you're saying you're going to meet Adwoa, and I should have that peace of mind to think that, okay, really and truly she's going to meet Adwoa. Then it will be difficult to have a long distance relationship.
I think does that mean that maybe it means that naturally you didn't really trust the partner that you're with? Because maybe you know that you've got a partner that could be a bit flirty with other people.
Sometimes that is key, but sometimes too people can do things that would, because don't forget, trust is earned, it's not gained.
Right.
So if your partner begins to dig deep into your pockets and begin to look for things, then possibly, I say this cautiously, possibly you might have done something that has caused your partner to want to be sniffing around you every now and again.
Is that always the case? I think sometimes
it's not always the case.
Yeah, because sometimes there are people that are naturally like that.
There are times when somebody might have had a bad experience in the past and they have not been able to get over it, and they have carried it onto the new relationship they are in.
Yeah.
And so that is also very possible. And there are some people who, because of things that are around or things that are happening in this generation, they tend to think that everybody is the same. And so then they don't even want to trust anybody. That can also be a contributing factor.
What I was going to say is that, but that is all the scenarios that is it is true. But if you find yourself that you are somebody who don't trust, and then you find yourself in that situation, what are you going to do? I'll say that is when you need to work on yourself, because your spouse has to take that job. That separate that distance has to come between the two of you.
Yes,
it is a conscious choice you make that I have these issues of trust, so I am going to work on myself, because this is what happened to me in the past because of that.
Unfortunately, not to cut you, sorry. Unfortunately, most of these people don't even know they have a problem. They shift the blame on their spouse.
Yeah.
And they think that you are the one who is at fault, not them. So when you even come up and say, listen, you need to work on yourself, you tell you.
Actually, what Chris is saying
because
is
what
so
I'm saying is that when your spouse is moving away and your spouse have got that job and that distance is, I mean, couples have to take a hard look at themselves, take a hard look at their relationship, because I believe that it's not something that you just do, because the way things are now is just so difficult. You have to really, for me, I would say just have a look at your relationship. Have a look at yourself. My spouse is going here for 3 months. How am I going to cope? And even if you don't do it, just take a moment and think about it and do it, because that is what is happening. It is the reality. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is practical, but is that reality? Is that what people actually do?
They don't do it. That is why there is Bedtalk, and we're
talking about it. Yeah, because like Chris was saying, I mean, I've had encountered situations where this person has an anger problem, and you're saying to the person, you've got to cool it down. You've got an anger problem, and they're saying, no, you haven't got an anger problem. You provoke me.
That's right.
So it's like they are not accepting.
At times with such people, you just have to lead them to they hit rock bottom, and they make that realization. Before they make that realization, then they take their steps back and then try to find help, because there are people that when you are trying to tell them that this is the situation, let's manage it, they will say no. They have to fall flat on their face, then they realize that they really have the problem. So if there is a long distance, you are in a long distance relationship, and you will not invest and do things to really maintain that relationship, and you just leave things anyhow, it will have that effect on your relationship. It will, because you need to work twice as much as those who are close together, those who are living together. You need to work a lot. Because this is not the case that you finish work and you meet your spouse at home and you chat about something.
No.
Or you just call. No, because it is very difficult. So things have to be planned very, very well.
Especially when you are living in different time zones.
Exactly what I was going to say. Exactly what I was going to say.
So you are in Japan, we are in England, and then when you are waking up, we are sleeping. It can
be difficult.
It can be very stressful.
It's stressful, so that's why you plan it. When I was doing the research, they were talking about having date nights even on the phone. So even if you have to take time off work or your off days because of the different time zones, so even you have to stay up and so that you can have that talk or that video call once a month, once every quarter or whatever. It has to be done. That is your relationship. If you don't do it, what's the alternative?
Wow. So if you have only just joined us, we are talking about long distance relationships and marriages. You know, is that what you signed up for? And if you didn't, and that has actually crept up on you, how do you deal with it? How do you keep that spark burning in that relationship, even though you are away? When we come back, we will be talking about benefits in long distance relationship. Keep your dials locked in.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life. Wondering where we are off to? Well, from the 1st of May 2018, ABN TV will be moving from Sky Channel 235 to Sky Channel 195. ABN TV is still available on Virgin TV Channel 842. ABN TV, your favorite black broadcaster.
My friend gave me a knife because I wanted pride. There was an incident. I got stabbed. I realized I don't need to pick up that knife. I decided to just focus on football. It was tough. Now, I'm on the path to achieve my dream. I've been knife-free for a year. Visit knifefree.co.uk.
Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy, newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
This is your girl, Diana Hamilton, and you're listening to ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan station. I love this station.
So we are back on the Bedtalk show with me, Adwoa, and Chris and Selassie right here in the studio. Studio lines are 0208 6707 0208 670 7300. You could also send us a message on WhatsApp on 0788 7475 940. And if you are abroad, you can actually call us on via WhatsApp calls on that same number 0788 7475 940. We are also streaming live on YouTube, so just go into YouTube. Just put ABN Radio UK on the search button and we should be able to see us live. If you are driving, then DAB, or if you've got the TuneIn app, then yes, you can listen to us on that as well. Otherwise, go on Google online, just put abnradiouk.com and you will find us right there as well. Also, ABN TV, UK's favorite black broadcaster, is moving from Sky Channel 235 to Channel 195 from the 1st of May 2018. So ABN TV is still available on Virgin TV as well, Channel 842. Don't miss a moment with ABN TV. So talking about long distance relationship, well, are there any benefits in long distance relationships?
I think so. I think there are. For me, I think that if you are in long distance relationships or marriage, I think that, like we said, absence makes the heart go fonder. And so you would not be quarreling all the time. Every time you get to talk or to spend time over the phone, be it video call, texting or sexting, it can be a good moment.
Yeah.
You would want to use it wisely. That's what I think. That's what I believe. It's not like I've been in one. But
No, but I think it sounds good actually.
Yeah, because I think for me, I think
you
will
have to
not
make
be
that cautious effort that there was this issue, but because I have an hour this week with you, so I'm going to leave it and then we talk about.
No, but you see, the thing is that because you're not constantly living together, you will have less quarrels. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, actually,
unless
possibly
you have trust issues as an underlining factor, where
or you had issues before
or even if not before, now, because when I call you don't answer, when I call you don't answer, and then I'm beginning to think, why is that every time I call you I never get to speak to you? What's going on? And
I say something?
And it builds up and it builds up and it builds up.
Yeah.
You understand? And you're not able to give me any tangible reasons why I call you and you're not able, or you're always giving me that fake answer and I begin to cut through and I see through that.
It's like you're not convinced.
I'm not convinced that the answer you're giving me is what is actually happening on the ground.
When it comes to, I just want to say something, then you can continue. When it comes to long distance relationship and phone calls, I believe that it has to be, you have to fix the time.
Not necessarily. I think sometimes you can be spontaneous.
Yes, you can be.
No, there has to be that regular time that you know that we are checking up on each other. Then you add the spontaneous
That's
ones.
even dangerous. What's the last thing?
No.
Quite dangerous.
Because what I'm saying is that because time zones and the rest, there are a lot of factors.
Yes,
so I'm calling you. So we said that every Sunday, whatever, 3 o'clock, this is a must. We have to speak to each other. But then you add the other spontaneous one to it.
Yes.
I believe that would be better than to always call and your spouse.
No, but Selassie, for instance, I know your schedule, right?
Yeah.
As a husband to you, I should know when you go to work, what time you come back.
Yeah, so you can even work that time zone out. I know you're a doctor. I know you're doing night shifts.
Exactly.
So I know at 6 a.m. you should be home, which is my 12 midnight afternoon. So I can grab a phone and call you before you go to sleep.
I could be at work and you could be at home. But then I could take a smoke break, as they call it.
Yeah.
Instead of going to smoke, I'll say, can I have a smoke break? Instead of that smoke, 15 minutes, I want to call my wife. And now I call you 3, 4, 5 times and you're not picking. And I'd be wondering, okay, at this time you should be at home. So what is going on? I call your mobile, you're not answering.
Be an issue.
I call your house phone. I'm not saying it should be an issue. It might
not be an issue because you trust your spouse so much.
Exactly.
But then when it becomes a routine.
Exactly. Then
and you're thinking, it wasn't like that before.
Yes.
All of a sudden.
Maybe the first, maybe the maybe the first 2 weeks when I left the country, when I call you, you answer. When I call you spontaneously, you pick up.
Yes.
And we talk. It's been like a month, 2 months, and now I call you spontaneously and you are not answering, but only the scheduled calls that we have that you get to speak to me. What is going on?
Yeah. I mean, like Selassie says, it's good that you create that time as well that you call. But I think that spontaneity is very important, because
I'm not saying that it's not important, but in addition to
but that's what we're saying, that when you do it spontaneously and it's not, you realize that he should be at home around this time, but he's not picking up. That's when I think some people start getting edgy and suspicious, and then they're thinking, what is going on?
If it happens once, you can let go.
Yeah.
It happens twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times.
A routine.
Yes, and it's like, what's going on? Why is that when I call these days when I call you in between our normal scheduled calls, I don't get to speak to you? But then,
it depends on the reasons that the person gives you.
Exactly. But then I know that at this time you should be at home. You should be off work. Even if you're not at home, you're on the bus, coming home, you're on the train. So why can't you speak to me? What is happening?
Yeah.
But for a long distance relationship to work, both partners has to be committed.
Of course, yeah.
So So, Chris, I don't really like that. I know you should be home. I know you should be, because life happens.
It does.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
The thing is,
I'm not. No,
I think that even if he's gone to the pub with his friends, or she's gone to a party with his friends, she should be able to tell that, I'll be going out today, or I'm out with my friends. You know, maybe these days WhatsApp, a common text message.
Exactly.
They have that relationship that it's okay. Was she in a coercive, controlling relationship before?
What coercive controlling?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Because
it doesn't have to be. You see, sometimes
because at times there are certain marriages that their spouses are not really happy. Their spouses doing things with their girlfriends and their man friends and everything.
That's there.
You are not around, and there is a bit of freedom. So today I decided to have coffee with my friends or something.
So you not tell me you had coffee with your friends because I'm not around.
Yeah, those are some of the issues that comes up. That is what I talked about, being committed.
Okay. You see, friendship. As I always say, friendship is key when it comes to marriage.
Yes.
I don't
because
believe
when you start hiding things like that, it means that either your partner is controlling.
That's right.
There is an underlying problem in the relationship, and so you are not free to even communicate to your partner
precisely
what you're doing, where you're going, and stuff like that. And I think that can be a bit dangerous.
I don't believe
all those things need to be talked about. That's why commitment comes.
Yes, I don't believe in any form of predominance, be it masculine or feminine, but I believe in having that good friendship in marriage. You see, your wife or your husband can be in Korea, can be in Japan, can be in Russia, can be in New Zealand. If actually New Zealand is a good example because the time zones are very different. New Zealand could spend they could have their New Year and be in an afternoon before we come into New Year.
Okay.
So it's a good example to you. But then you see, even if you know your spouse is sleeping or is at work, because that friendship is so nice and good, I could just pick up a phone and text and say, "Oh, hello, honey. My friends and I, we after work we decided to grab a bite. We could even do a selfie and send to you." And you see, these things
builds trust because you are so far apart. So
yes, but I'm keeping you abreast. Exactly. I'm keeping you abreast with. But then when it comes to me calling and you not picking once, twice, thrice, the fourth time, the fifth time, and you don't have any tangible reason to buttress why you are not answering my calls. Because we are so far apart, you can begin to breach that trust that you have built over the years. And that's the point I'm making.
Interesting. It is actually quite true, you know. So that's why I'm so key about how do we sustain such relationships, because it's all these little things that can actually make the relationship even more difficult to deal with. You know. So so benefits. Chris was saying that sometimes, obviously, because you're apart, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So then when you get together, the ones in a while, it's fireworks.
On another level, it helps you with your communication. Because you are you are forced to do certain things, because
that is when you come together, or when
if you're apart, because you know that everything has to be said within that set time that I call or I Skype or everything. You have to talk, you have to communicate, you have to listen. We have to feed each other back on things that are happening in each other's life. So it helps with our communication. Even if you are somebody who don't really like talking on the phone and the rest, because this is your only means of communication with your spouse, you have to do it. You are forced to do it. And as you're doing it, you get better at it, and it helps your relationship.
What if you're an introvert? Because you get some introverts that, there's they don't really like to even be bothered. They can't be bothered to pick up the phone to even call.
If you're an introvert, then marriage is not for you.
That's you can't use that as an excuse.
No, not at all.
You can't. That is you. But I have to move away from my spouse, and this is the situation. So I will try. I will do my best. I will try and talk to you when I'm not around. And also another benefit would be it helps you to be an independent person in the relationship, which is not a bad thing. because
too much of it can be bad.
But because your spouse is not around, you are forced to do certain things
on your own.
You are forced to take certain decisions, and I think that is good training. It is very good.
Yeah.
But because you may do it and you may discuss it, and then you have to physically go and do it. And all those things, I think it's really good. It really helps you.
I'm also looking at creativity.
Yeah.
You can be creative in your relation. Because you are far apart, you begin to do things in a very creative manner. You begin to improvise. You can be on the phone. You can actually do intimate stuff.
On the
video,
phone.
yes, and video calling, and you know, and getting your spouse to show you things, and so even if your spouse,
I need to get deep into that.
Yes, we would need to
in a little while. We definitely need to get deep into that, because some people probably don't even know what to use a phone and the video calls for. You know, maybe some people have never even tried video calling. All they've done is pick up the phone and call, honey, how are you? How was your day? Okay, mine was okay. You know, conversation done.
At least they are calling. So at least they are calling.
Yes. Okay, so I want to look into intimacy, you know, whilst you're far apart. We'll take the news on top of the hour. We'll be right back.
More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
From the Sky News Centre at 10, Swedish DJ Avicii, who collaborated with the likes of Madonna and Coldplay, has died in Oman at the age of 28. His club anthems include Wake Me Up, Hey Brother and Lonely Together. Music journalist Will Lavin says he had enormous global success.
You just have to look at his streams as well. He was already over 11 billion on Spotify alone. So he was always playing these mega events, these mega festivals, but also I think he was actually the first EDM DJ to do an arena tour worldwide.
It's not been revealed how he died, but in 2014 he cancelled a string of shows after having surgery for conditions linked with alcohol abuse. It's been confirmed that Prince Charles will take over from the Queen as the next head of the Commonwealth. The decision was made by Commonwealth leaders at Windsor Castle this afternoon. Government scientists say toxic levels of the nerve agent used to poison a former Russian spy may still be present in some areas of Salisbury. Officials insist the city's safe, despite the fact that traces of the poison could still remain. In sport, former Arsenal goalkeeper David Seaman says it's a sad day for the Premier League club. Manager Arsene Wenger has announced he's stepping down from his role at the end of the season. Seaman says there's something positive about the timing, though.
It now gives us a chance to appreciate and totally respect what Arsene Wenger has done for Arsenal Football Club. It gives the fans a chance to come back and start watching us again, and then realise, you know, that when you look back, how many trophies has this guy won? It's an absolute phenomenal amount.
Nissan is cutting hundreds of jobs at its Sunderland plant. It's down to a big slump in demand for diesel vehicles this year. The company hasn't confirmed how many posts are going, but says it's discussing a reduction in output with employees. And James Bond star Daniel Craig is becoming a father again at the age of 50. His wife, Rachel Weisz, who's 48, is expecting their first child together. That's the latest. I'm Daisy Gray.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realised. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
The Discourse on ABN Radio, engaging our community with discerning conversation.
Join me, Esther Alade, on The Discourse, where we will be redefining perspectives with authentic analysis.
Join The Discourse from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on ABN Radio.
This Friday and every Friday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy UG Official. And right now, you're tuned into ABN Radio. Make sure you don't touch that dial. Stay tuned.
Yes, make sure you don't touch that dial. This is ABN Radio UK. We are live on the DAB app, TuneIn app, Modern Ghana, and also on YouTube. And thank you for joining me once again. And yes, we are continuing our discussion on long-distance relationships and marriages and what can be done to sustain it. Very soon, we will be going into intimacy whilst you are far apart. But before we do that, what I want to know is, are there some serious long-distance relationship problems out there? If so, what are they? You know, and how do you deal with some of the problems that long-distance relationship creates?
I would say, I talked about being independent, but do you become so independent in doing things your way that when your spouse, when the time comes for you to be together, then you don't have any consideration for your spouse because you've been doing it alone? So that can be a problem. And if it's not handled very well, your spouse feels left out because he has come for maybe a short period of time, and then because you are so used to doing things, maybe when kids are involved, you are so used to doing things with you and the children, and he's just like a bystander, just observing what is going on.
Yeah.
So that can be a problem, and that can affect your relationship. So if that happens, you have to make that cautious effort. My spouse is in for a month, for 2 weeks, and then you say, can you do A, B, C, D as when you're around? So that's a problem, and that's my solution.
And you know that actually it is so true, because that is a very difficult one, and it is something that happens, because I know of a couple who sadly eventually broke up, and you know they're now divorced, but they were far apart from each other. And when they were apart, the relationship was working okay. You know, the guy will come over and come and spend time with the wife for maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it is fireworks and everything else. Likewise, the woman will probably go and join him and all of that. But independence, they were both so independent to the point where, you know, obviously 2 weeks and 3 weeks, because it's just 2 weeks and 3 weeks. You kill yourself, you're in that mode. It's
tolerate each other.
and by the time that the honeymoon period is almost over, it's time for the person to kind of go back. So, and then the wife decided to now move in and go and join the husband permanently after about 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
You know, so she decided to move in. But then he's independent, you are independent. And therefore, especially him, because you have now come to join me, he was still doing the things that he was doing
used to doing
when he was on his own, when you were not here. So therefore, he'll finish work and still go and chill out with his friends, forgetting that right now my wife is here, so I need to come home and spend some time with, you know, I mean, she's not suffocating you, she's not saying don't go out, but when you're still overdoing it, like I'm still not there, sometimes he'll grab his car keys and walk out of the house without even telling her that I'm going out.
Because he's so used to that.
Yes. You know, so eventually the relationship crumbled and they're now divorced. Yeah, and it's so painful, because considering that the wife actually decided that, you know what, I'm coming to join you now so that we can live properly as man and husband, and that didn't work. So that could be, you know, a disadvantage.
Because all these things in a relationship, it has to be managed very well, because I believe that the transition, I'll call it transition period.
It actually is, isn't it?
That is when you need to have those frank conversations, and you have to be truthful to each other. Because if you will know, and you have to also make that cautious effort. You used to go out every night, you cut it down to 2. It has to be give and take. Because if you don't do it, as you said, the relationship will crumble before you, because you cannot just be apart and come together and then there will be fireworks and everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. So I believe that things has to be done. It has to be planned. I talked about planning, and it looks like I'm talking too much about planning, but if you have to put the effort into it, it will not just happen. No, it will not. You have to plan it. You are coming into my life after whatever. You are rejoining me after 5 years. What did I used to do? I used to cook my own dinner. I used to eat fast food. Everything has to be planned to the T. And then there has to be a lot of compromise. You have to compromise on a lot of things.
You see, also, I think that long distance relationship, when you begin to miss some of the things that can put the relationship into a very serious mode is when you begin to miss your scheduled phone calls. You begin to forget anniversaries, birthdays. They're very important things that are very important to both of you as a couple, and things that are important to your spouse. So even though you are not around, you should still keep that care to each other.
Yes.
So things that are important to my spouse, I should follow up. Oh, you said you were going for an interview. How did it go?
Yeah.
You know, and anniversaries, you should ring and talk about nice things and try to, you know, connect. Birthday, it will be a disaster if you have a wife and you miss your wife's birthday.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where in the world you are.
Even if you have to book a day off work or take to be around for that phone call,
you don't even have to book a day off. But even if you don't,
it only takes 5 minutes to call.
Exactly. Even if you don't send anything, these days you can use your card to order flowers, order this, order that, and it will be delivered.
Yeah.
Even if you are unable to do that, and you don't call the whole day, and the day goes by without you actually speaking to your spouse, even if it's for 5 minutes. Listen, I'm so busy at work. I know the time difference, blah blah blah. I've taken time away from work just to say that your day means so much to me. You're very dear to me. I love you so much, honey. I hope you're having a good. I wish I were there. You know,
I love the sweet
things, the things that you can say that would actually get your spouse to feel that fulfillment. That even though you are not there or you are not here with me, I can still feel your presence by that few minutes you spent. If those things stop, then your relationship is heading the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's in for trouble.
I think those things are very important, and as you're saying, I know that men tends to forget anniversaries and birthdays and stuff, but then on odd occasions there are some women who don't do that either. So we're encouraging both men and women, you know, to do it. Especially believe you me, there are some men who are so particular about their birthdays, you know, who are into birthdays, and when you miss it, you know, they've got feelings too. It really does hurt them. So now, being apart from each other, does that breed or encourage cheating?
It can.
Is that you know, a disadvantage as well?
It can be a very big disadvantage because I know women have needs, but men have more needs than I would say. I know Selassie might frown on that because I know she's got needs as well. You see, but men have needs, and this is why I was saying that long distance relationship should be able to bring out some creativity in you, in the couple, in the way you do things, in how you relate to each other. So if you are failing to connect via social media, now, I mean, social media brings the world together. It brings people very close to you than they seem to be. So you should be able to be very creative on the phone. You know, video calls, sexting, texting, you know, doing all kinds of things, you know. And if you are not able to do these things and you leave your spouse to get out there are so many hungry dogs out there. So many hungry dogs, both on the female side and on the male side. There are women who are also who are gnashing and are looking for people to be with at the moment. So there are women who can even walk up to you and make suggestive stuff, and
which happens a lot.
It does. And if the relationship is not strong, if you're not committed to your spouse, there's that likelihood that people could actually go astray. And like I said, if you are not able to make time for intimacy, for creativity, then there is that likeliness that when that opportunity comes knocking, your spouse will walk.
Do you think that, because we're talking about the ability to cheat, or the breed, or maybe encouragement to cheat, or what have you? I mean, that is not right. You cannot do that.
No.
But we're talking about it could be a possibility because one is lonely. Do you think that men kind of get drawn to go out a lot more than women? Or these days, do you think that women are also out there?
I think it depends. There are a lot of women out there at the moment. There are women who are also doing things, and I think that women tend to need attention more than men.
Yeah.
And so if somebody in the absence of a husband is giving somebody's wife a lot of attention, there is that likeliness that this woman could also fall for whoever is providing this attention. Sometimes it could also happen that the man is in a situation, is working in an environment where it doesn't allow him to go out and do all these things. So the person could be restricted.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if you're a soldier, you are a seaman, you are in the oil drilling industry, and you are restricted as to what things you can do at what times. There's a possibility that your spouse could be very busy, engulfed in their work and their normal daily schedules, and not be doing anything amorous. Whereas if the woman is that attention-seeking type, somebody is giving them attention. Oh, I know your husband is not here. Can I do this for you? Do you want me to wash your car? You have a problem. You call that neighbor who is single and has all the six-pack on his belly and all these muscles.
Right?
And
should I bring you some food?
Exactly. And he is giving you that constant attention that you require or desire.
Yeah.
There's that possibility that one day something could happen, because sometimes he might even say, oh, do you mind we going to catch a drink?
Can I come in for a cup of tea or something?
Or can we, I got this very beautiful movie. Can we watch it together? And one thing could lead to another, and then next minute, instead of saying stop, you'll be saying, please don't stop. Or brother, please do what you are stopping.
So that's when we need kind of self-control. So that's what you want to say.
That is the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself in that situation, do you have the willpower to say no?
That's what I'm saying. Is that willpower, your control?
Yes. What are your safeguards? What have you put around you to prevent yourself from going that way? Because the reality is that your spouse is not around. The reality is that you need support system in terms of people helping you to do things around the house and everything. But what are you going to put in place to help you to prevent that from happening? If you are getting closer to somebody, if you see yourself getting attracted to somebody, do you have things to do to help you? Do you have a relationship that you can tell your spouse about it? All these things, we have to think about it when it comes to long distance relationship, because that is the reality. It will happen.
Yes.
It will happen, but we have to put measures in place. Couple have to come together and put measures in place so that it will help them. These are the realities of the situation. Can I come to my spouse and say that I feel attracted, or this person has been... Do you tell your spouse, oh, the neighbor came to mow the lawn or do A, B, C, D? Or is it something that you are not really telling your spouse about?
But can you actually tell your spouse that I am feeling attracted to this man or this woman?
Not really like that.
But when he is not around, especially.
The neighbor came to mow the lawn or something. Everything has to be as open as that.
Okay, yeah.
Everything once it's open, if that secrecy happens, then you realize that you are treading something. You have to put in checks. You have to, because it can happen. As you were saying, women, we like attention, and it may not be that guy with a six-pack or everything. Once the attention is there, given. Other factors don't matter.
Exactly.
So even if your spouse is not around, you can still give your...
It might even be somebody that on a normal day you might not look at twice.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's giving you the attention, he's coming around, giving you all the support, you know, your birthday, he's there, bringing you that flowers, bringing you that parcel. When your husband is so busy, he's not even able to call. All these things can push you away.
In the long run, we have to try to stay connected in all levels. I would say that communicates everything. Let's say if you go to work, on your way to work, you saw something funny. Text it and leave a message. Oh, when I was going to work, I saw this thing happen, and leave it. Like, inform each other of things that happened during the day, and later when he reads the message, he will respond. He's also telling you what has happened during his day. So you have a lot to discuss. You have a lot to talk about because you are sharing your day. This was what happened in my day. It's not just the mundane things that you talk about, money, whatever, but the little things. It all brings that spiciness and that excitement to your relationship.
Interesting. If you have only joined in, this is the Bedtalk show with me, Adwoa. We are live on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan station. And I have right here in the studio with me, Selassie and Chris. And yes, we are talking about long distance marriages and relationships, and what can be done to sustain these relationships. You know, what are some of the problems that actually happens with these kind of relationships, and how do we deal with the problems, and how do we bring that spark back into the relationship? You could call us on the studio line on 0208 6707300, 0208 6707300. You could also send us WhatsApp message or call on 0788 7475940, 0788 7475940. We are also streaming live on YouTube, and you could also catch us on the DAB app, the TuneIn app, and online on abnradiouk.com. abnradiouk.com. And so, talking about long distance relationships, can you also build a life full of fun without your significant other close to you? You know, or you just sit in your small one corner brooding and feeling lonely and sorry that your partner is not here, and do you dwell on that loneliness? You know, what can you do to actually create some kind of fun for yourself?
I think that it's a choice you make. It's a choice you make whether my spouse is not around, but I can still have a life and have a fulfilled life.
Yeah.
Because as you are working on your relationship, communicating and doing things together, celebrating everything together, you need to also develop yourself. You need to take care of yourself too. So when it comes to, I believe that you still have to do things with family, you still have to do things with friends. But when you are doing all those things, it has to be an open book. Yeah. It has to be open. Your spouse have to know about it. Not that you are reporting to them, but you just mention it. Oh, I plan to have dinner with my friends.
It's called building friendship.
Because I stress that because it's not like you're reporting to your spouse.
That's what I'm saying.
So your spouse know that, oh, you haven't dinner with so and so. You can send, when you are there, you can video call, you can say hello to the friends that you are with. So all these things are really important. And on another level, I mean, when we're talking, something just popped into on my mind. When you're on the same time zone, when you're even cooking, you can have a Skype call and your spouse can just be there watching you cook. I mean, all these things, creativity, it is very, very important. Because he may not be there seeing you cook, but being on that video call, seeing you cooking and everything is another aspect of your relationship that you are developing. So I believe that you can have a life, but it's a choice you made, but you also have to do with the knowledge of your spouse.
Yeah, I like the cooking bit, where you can do things together, put on video call and Skype, or these days there are a lot of these apps that facilitates, WhatsApp call, FaceTime, Tango, what have you. Yeah, there's a lot of these things that you can actually use. It is at our disposal, so use it at our disposal. And it doesn't have to be just cooking as well. I mean, even when you're in the bathroom, you could have your shower together, even though he is miles away. Put it on video call, get in the shower, talk, make life exciting. Yeah. But then like Selassie actually rightly said, that sometimes it is a choice. Because you get people that become a bit of an introvert, or I don't know if they kind of feel sorry for themselves because their husbands or their wives are not here and they're so lonely and they kind of live that lonely life. Or is it because they fear that when they go out, someone would say, oh, your husband is not here and you are always out there? I don't know.
I think that in our community, that is mostly what happened, because they believe that once your spouse is not here, you should not be seen having a life, having fun, and you are judged wrongly. You can't even genuinely go out with your family, but because they don't know them, they can jump into conclusions. So people, out of that fear, just try to be pious, stay at home, don't do anything, and that rather have a bad effect on them. So for me, once your spouse know about what you were doing, it's between the two of you.
Yes.
As much as people may gossip and say other things, try and ignore it and then concentrate on
but also I think that it is important that you don't get people to get a bad impression about you.
But how do you do that? You cannot live your life for people.
I'm not saying you're living your life for people, but you live your life not in a fake way. I'm not saying anybody should fake it. But then also there are people that you see today. Kwame will come over, tomorrow Yao will come over, the next day. So then immediately people will begin to think, what's going on? Then also, sometimes some of these life you're living, ask yourself, would you live if your spouse were to be around? If it passes the litmus test, then you are good. Because if you're not going to, if I'm your spouse and I'm here and you live the same way that you are living now, there's no problem. And in the eyes of all my family, or even if Akwesi is here, she's going to be doing this. She'll go out, she'll go and drink with her friends, she'll do that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're doing things that you wouldn't do normally in my presence when I'm around, then you're going to invite people.
Yeah, but
for them to have a bad impression about you.
Maybe I am doing those things because you are not around, and I need some fun in my life. I'm lonely. I need to do something.
Not without a doubt. But you see, anything that is done in darkness has question marks. So if you are doing it not in a way that looks so suspicious, not in a way that has amorous intentions hovering all over it, then that's okay. Because sometimes you might think that, who cares? You are not my husband. But when your husband eventually comes back and begin to get all these murmurings in their ears.
Because my husband knows that I told my husband I was
that is acceptable.
Need to stop murmuring. People need to stop talking about other people's business. And that should be the bottom line.
No, because what I'm saying is that my spouse is not around. Because of that, I have Friday evenings. I want to take her basketball or go to my local whatever and take her swimming. That is what I do. My spouse knows about it. I go and I do it, and he knows about it. So
that's what I'm saying. That these things you can do them when I'm around. Anyway,
go after swimming, going out with your friends. If people are saying it,
that's not a problem at all. That's not a problem. But you see,
people will always talk.
People would always talk.
So you have to leave that for field life.
Even Jesus, people talked about him, and then he did ask. People say this, but who do you say I am?
I am. Yeah.
You understand? I'm not saying that you shouldn't live your life.
Yeah.
But there are times too when you realize that it looks like the freedom gets into some people's head too much.
That's why there have to be a good balance.
There has to be a balance. And then they tend to, because nobody would want their name to be dragged in the mud.
No.
And no man would want people to be talking ill about their wives, or even the wives wouldn't want their husbands to be spoken ill of.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that you should have a very clear-cut way of doing your things. You should be cautious. It's good to be free. It's good to have fun. It's good not to be indoors and be moaning and be all sorrowful or being very down because your spouse is not around. That's not what I'm saying. Live a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
Be okay, be happy, be joyous, make merry when you need to. Go out if you have to. But make sure that your life is reflecting a very good woman, that I wouldn't have to worry.
Woman or man.
That your spouse wouldn't have to get all these negative, but people will definitely say things.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. But also, if your spouse also knows, like Selassie said, if he knows that, okay, when you were here...
my wife is outgoing anyway. So
can you imagine that somebody goes, your husband knows that you went out this evening with your friends, and then somebody is saying something bad, and then your spouse will realize that this is just somebody who wants to cause trouble in my relationship.
Yeah, and there's a story about, I know the couple, and it's a bit like, you came in different today, Selassie, like with your hair cut low, and this couple, the wife had long hair, and she went out, had her hair done, cut is so low, and she looked like a teenager. Went out with a husband. They were at a restaurant eating, and then someone calls her whilst she is eating in a restaurant with her husband to say, "Oh, I just saw your husband. She's with some small girl, at this restaurant."
I love that.
And stuff like that. And you see, the girl just had to laugh and didn't say anything else.
No, you don't need to.
It goes to tell that, people should learn to mind their own business. Because now, for argument's sake, if the guy was with even his cousin, and the wife was at home, and you call the wife to say, I've seen your husband with a small girl. What are you trying to do to their relationship?
Exactly.
Not knowing that it could be his cousin, it could be his younger sister, it could be his niece, So people should learn to mind your own business, and it's not everything that you see that you need to go and open your mouth and say to somebody. It is really not, so people need to get that. But for now, can we take a quick breather? We would be right back.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Quentin slowly, supporting all family and young people.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in
I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love
banana.
a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and
I say nice English breakfast.
Salad, fruit and orange.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum and Abeye Bonsu. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. Wondering where we are off to? Well, from the 1st of May 2018, ABN TV will be moving from Sky Channel 235 to Sky Channel 195. ABN TV is still available on Virgin TV Channel 842. ABN TV, your favorite black broadcaster.
This is ABN Radio.
It's really my type of music.
We play your genre of music.
Hey, welcome back to the Bedtalk show with me, Adwoa, Armah-Appiah. We are live on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan station. And in here with me, I've got Chris Decker and Selassie. Washington Kujo. I thought I should add that. And yes, we are having fun in here, talking about long-distance relationships, the impacts that it has on relationships. But then also, there are some benefits of long distance relationships which we have actually spoken about. And we, just before we took the breather, we were talking about how can you build a life full of fun without your significant other that's close to you. And so, continuation of that, I think Chris was saying something before we took that breather, talking about how to. And once we've done with that, I want us to go into how can you bring that spark back into a relationship. What are some of the things that we can do? I know we spoke about taking the video phone to your bathroom and to the kitchen. What other things can we do to actually, ignite the spark, even from afar?
Oh, yeah.
I think that if you are romantic, you are romantic. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. Mm-hmm. And so if the relationship is good, you are committed to the relationship, excuse me, then you can do so many things that will bring that spark back. Mm-hmm. The video calls, the text messaging, even sometimes buying. These days, you can buy something online and send it to the address of your spouse. Even if you are not around, you could send flowers. You could buy gifts. Write little notes and post. You could do postcards. So many things that you can do. Yeah. Anything that, and also it depends on your love languages. So anything that will bring a smile onto your spouse's face, then I would encourage it, because everybody is different. And what might tickle Selassie's fancy might not tickle mine. But if you know your spouse, you know what will make them happy, you know what will make them tick, then I would say that try and do some of these things, even though you're far apart. Mm-hmm. And that would keep the spark between you burning all the time.
Selassie?
I'll just say that you have to be very attentive. When you listen to your spouse and then you minister to every the need that she brings across. I'll just give an example. Maybe if your spouse's love language is act of service, you may not be there to perform that act of service. Is it a service that you can pay an external somebody to come, a source to come and do it? You can let's talk about mowing the lawn or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe I think I'm giving that example too much, but is it something that you can arrange for somebody to practically do it for her? And the lawn is, you are not there to do it, but you've paid. It's a burden. Instead of her getting somebody to do it, you've done it. It's paid for. The person came. Oh, I'm supposed to mow your lawn. It's done and everything. That would really that's another way of also getting involved in the day-to-day relationship. Your spouse told you that I'm going to do A, B, C, D. Oh, you said you're going to do your hair. You did. How is it? Or you have to ask questions, because your spouse told you something. Did you just leave it there? Or I'm doing A, B, C, D. You didn't ask. Oh, so how did it go? What happened? Yeah. So you have to be attentive. You listen, and then I would say that you listen and you minister to that need that she brings across. Because if you just leave your relationship like that, like you're just not inactive listening, you are just listening. Okay, making just making the noises just to tick the boxes that we've spoken for an hour. and then when your spouse called again, you don't even remember what was said and everything. It's not very good. So I would believe that you have to be so committed. Even if you have to write things down to remember, you have to do it. You know yourself, you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths. So match each other up in terms of weaknesses and strength when it comes to long distance relationship. And I would say that when you are apart, celebrate everything. Celebrate everything. Chris talked about birthdays, anniversary, every little thing. Make a big deal out of it. So make a big deal out of the little things. And that really helps. You make your spouse feel so special. Like you are the only person in the world.
There's one thing that I want to bring to our attention.
Please go on.
You see, long distance relationship is such that at a point we need to know if there is a light at the end of the tunnel or not. So we should be able to measure in terms of how long are we doing this for? Is this something that is going to be forever?
Right.
Or is this something that we are going to make sacrifices for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? When is this going to end? Then also, are we going to be meeting intermittently, or until that 4 years I'm not going to see you? These are things that I think people in long distance relationships should also be able to discuss, because if we're apart, at least every year are we meeting? Should we? Would there be the opportunity that once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year would get to see each other, or not? And if this is a rolling contract, when is this going to end? When are we going to actually live together? There should be some light at the end of the tunnel, because it becomes very straining, very difficult if I know that for the next 4 years I'm never going to see my wife. I'm never going to see my husband, and all we do is talk on the phone, talk. Yes, we could be doing things together, we could be Skyping, touch, and you be touching yourself, I'll be touching myself, and all of that nonsense. Excuse my French. But then where do we go from here?
Yes.
Because there is nothing for me. This is why I say I can't do long distance relationship, because there is nothing that could replace that personal touches. That this is you, this is me.
Yes.
The physical touch, the cuddles, the kisses, the hugs. Nothing could replace that. And if this is going to go on forever, how long is this going to go for?
So you need to put some kind of a timeline.
Exactly.
Some kind of planning.
Timeline, take stock.
Yes.
Are we going to do it? Take stock. Is it time? Is it after 4 years? You take stock.
And then within that 4 years, how many times do we see each other? Do I come to you maybe on Easter holidays? Do you come to me during Christmas? But then the problem is when there is immigration problems involved. I think that is a tough one, because then it's like, we are apart. What do we do? Do we stay apart? Do I finally come and join you and dump everything that I've got here? And I think all of those things. I'm going to read a comment from Mo. And Mo, Selassie, by the way, Mo says I should let you know that your hair suits you. I think Mo is watching on YouTube. So
thank you.
So he's picked that up. And so, yes, you can go on YouTube too. Just search for ABN Radio UK on YouTube and you will find us live on there. Otherwise, you can just stay in on TuneIn, DAB and online. So Mo is saying that long-distance relationships are manageable over a short period. It all depends on how much time or energy you share with each other and fulfill each other's needs. Meeting once a year is not fulfilling and would lead to needs being met and the potential for someone to obtain pleasure from other sources. I think that is detail. I mean, if you are not strong-willed, and if you don't have that good self-control, then you could likely.
You see, sometimes we think that if you are not strong-willed, you don't have good self-control. It's not always the case.
What is the case then?
Life happens.
Life does happen. Because the thing is that if somebody has been lonely for 4 years,
yes,
without a physical touch from her husband, without a cuddle, without a kiss, a caress, a hug, the love language is not being met or spoken to, and she gets this person speaking all the love languages that she desires and ticking all the right boxes. Sometimes you could just be carried away.
It's just the human in you.
Exactly.
Right?
Nature naturally abhors vacuum. When there is a vacuum, nature will abhor it. And when that happens, there's a possibility that when you mingle with other people, you socialize with other people, because let's face it, there are times where your spouse could even be with you and you could still have a crush on somebody.
True.
It's very, very, we are human.
Yeah.
It's very, 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 very real. It does happen all the time. You could be walking with your spouse and then you are eyeing somebody else because that person looks, I'm not saying that maybe you've committed it to heart, but you just find out, this person is nice. Maybe in a very innocent manner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But when your spouse is not around, and this same innocent thing passes by your front door every time, giving you all that attention that you are missing out on, there is that possibility that one day, just one day,
yes,
something could happen. So sometimes it's not so much about willpower. It's not so much about you not holding your relationship so much in high esteem, but it's just the fact that you have been absent for too long,
and that need. So what do you do? Like if your partner is away for that 4 years, what do you do to satisfy your sexual needs? That does not really make you want to do it with somebody else. How do you facilitate that intimacy?
I would say that the video calls, you should do phone sex.
Okay.
I would say that. Do the video calls. You can do sex. Do some intimacy on the phone.
Okay.
But you see, another area too that I honestly, there are some of my friends that I tell them that when you become too much hooked onto sex toys, it becomes very dangerous.
That's the thing.
I've mentioned this before in this program. That when you get so hooked onto sex toys, it gets to a point where you wouldn't be able to get that satisfaction from a human being.
Because you're so used to it.
And that has become what you know and what you're used to. So when your husband comes and touches you, it might not feel the same anymore. And you might not enjoy it as much as you would enjoy you being with that sex toy.
Wow.
So that's also another dangerous thing. And sometimes you find out that some people tend to fall back onto sex toys in the absence of their spouses. But that could also have ripple effects.
Yeah. It's a crazy one. Can I read another one of Mo's contribution? Mo says that Moses, the Chris is right, actually. You have to be in tune with your partner's love language to be aware of their needs. It is also important to be aware of your partner's needs and provide the necessary balance to prevent life from happening. True, because we keep saying life happens, but it's like, what can you provide to prevent life from happening. And and so we will be coming to that, you know. Can we brainstorm some of the things that we can actually think of that will prevent life from happening? And then he also says that phone sex, kinky conversations, and cheeky notes, pictures are important in long distance relationships. It is important to keep your partner's eye on the prize, and the prize is being you or me. Thank you so much, Mo. I mean, your contribution is really a good one. And so, yeah, but then, you know, about, okay, the pictures and what have you, as much as I think that it could be a good idea, but it could be wrong, because it could so easily fall in the hands of other people that you don't want to as well. So it's what kind of pictures?
What pictures? Sending you a picture. But I don't understand why. You know, I find it very, very strange these days how some videos, personal videos of some women are being circulated.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't.
If it goes to the wrong person, then they all start circulating. It's so sad.
If it is your spouse, or your fiancé that you intend to marry, why do you want somebody else to see them?
No, it goes to it falls in wrong hands. That's what I'm saying.
The only way it will fall in wrong hands is by, for instance, Selassie sending me a video and I sending it to you, and you sending it to you.
No, there was a problem that came up not long ago. I don't know if you heard about it.
Was it Facebook?
No, it was WhatsApp, but then it ended up on Facebook and everywhere, because this young lady was sending a video. Her husband has traveled, and she did a bit of striptease on a video, completely naked, dancing for her husband. Her intention was a video to go to her husband that had traveled, to tease him, to make him know that he misses her and what have you. Now, the mistake she did,
she sent it to somebody else.
She sent it to the church group.
Platform.
Yes.
That's strange.
Wow.
Because her husband is on there as well. So I think maybe when she was sending it by mistake. And Chris, that is
in the moment.
Even I've gone through that situation before. It's not sending pictures or anything, but when you are responding to somebody's text message and then another message comes through and it kind of flicks open. So before you realize you've sent the wrong message to
a different person. Yeah.
And I've done that a couple of times, and I'm like, whoa, it could have been anything that I had sent and goes to the wrong person. And this is what happened, so she was sending a video to the husband and it ended up on a church platform. But this is what I'm saying. If somebody has put something on there, the person, I think you owe her a bit of duty to protect her. Yeah. Why do it's a church group. Why doesn't it just be contained in the group?
No.
Then people start sending it.
And it went viral.
Yes. This is what the pastor's wife sent. And it went viral. So this naked. So that's why sometimes I'm a bit.
So then these people need to be careful.
Yeah.
For me, it's either you're doing a video call, but if you want to do a tease, then why don't you open your husband's page and concentrate on doing that video?
I think she only did it on video and then sending it.
That's right.
If you're going, you have to be very careful.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Because these mistakes, it happens naturally. But you have to extra cautious. You've recorded that video. Make sure you even have to double check. If you have to double check the number and everything before you press that send button, it's not something you can do in between. No. Take a moment.
For me, just open to, if it's you I'm sending it to, I want to open to my conversations with you before I even record the video and then send. So that should be something that people should actually look out for.
Because
that page.
I've heard of a lot of videos, ending up in wrong hands. Sometimes maybe your phone gets missing, or someone grabs your phone and they see it and then they're thinking, oh, what is this? I'm curious. And they send it to themselves and then they share it, because they want to destroy you.
Sometimes it's not even so much about destroying you, but we have come into that age where when people see things that they find funny, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise, they want to share it and let other people also see it. So it's not so much about even destroying you, but okay, I got this. Did you see this video? Just out of curiosity, I'll send it to Selassie for her to also watch it. And then she will also share it to somebody else, and they will share, and then that's how videos go viral. Yeah. So sometimes it's not so
because
much
it's
about
curiosity as well. I mean, as soon as somebody tells you, "Oh, did you see that video that went viral?" Oh, it was so.
Am I the only one who's not curious about things like that?
Maybe people are curious, and people are like, "Oh no, I haven't seen it. Oh, I'd like to have a look at it." And then it keeps going, and then it just keeps going, and then it keeps going, and it becomes a problem otherwise. So I think that is the only little problem when it comes to photos, and maybe just do the video call whilst you are both live. But then
photos shouldn't be. Even if you're not confident about doing intimate photos, you can just normal day. This is what I'm wearing to work or something.
No, that is fine. But I'm talking about, like Armah-Appiah, more suggestions. Sometimes intimate, cheeky photos of yourself to him. Just so that maybe you just want him to feel you, because it's been so long and you're thinking, oh, here is what you're missing, or this is what you'll be coming back to, kind of thing. So sometimes you don't send a cheeky.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
So it's all those little things that eventually you get caught into it, and then maybe it just lands into the wrong kind of hands, and then it becomes viral, and then it becomes a problem. So that's the only thing. But other than that, what are some of the healthy tips that we can give to people who are in long distance relationship?
I think you should make time for each other. Because all these things that we are talking about, you have a job, whatever, but you need to make time for each other. You need to be committed to that time that you make for each other. Because what are the ground rules? What is the plan? Are we going to be talking every day? If it's every day, then we both have to stick to it. Would there be a specified time, or will it just be spontaneous? All these things, you need to discuss it. And then you go ahead and then you do it. You have to be committed, because once you've had a plan and you don't stick to it, then what are you asking for? You're asking for trouble. But if you plan to do things, you have to stick to it. And even if things do happen, then you have to fix another time, because we do make plans, but things will happen. So let us be committed. If you are in a long distance relationship, be committed. Be committed to the T. I would say that is really, really important. You cannot cancel a scheduled Skype conversation with your spouse to do something else. I think that takes precedence over, unless it's like a life and death issue, then you have to cancel it. It is so important for you to have that Skype conversation. And when you have that Skype conversation, let it be really, really fruitful. Make it really fun. There are a lot of things you can do. Be creative. Think outside the box. You know your spouse. You know what excites them. And if you are making those video calls and Skype calls and everything, make sure that you dress nicely, both men and women, and so that he sees you in a different light, and be suggestive and be flirty and everything. Just be creative. Think outside the box.
Wow.
I think that for me, as I've indicated, I think long distance relationships are very difficult.
Yeah.
So if you are in one, then you should work twice as hard as you would if you were living together. So if really and truly you want to make that relationship work, then you need to make a lot of compromises to ensure that this thing actually works. And then make sure that you know what's in store for both of you. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah.
How long are we going to do this for? Let all these things be clear. If it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, talk about it. And then also that intermittent visits, and meeting ups, that's also very important.
Necessary.
Yes, it's very, very important. So all these things, plan them. If we can meet once, twice, 3 times a year, let us try and make it, and let us make the best of it. so that it will keep the relationship going. Otherwise, by the time you have finished whatever you're doing, you wouldn't have a relationship.
That's true.
You wouldn't, because being away from each other can be very straining. It can be very difficult. And if you don't make these compromises and stay true to that commitment that you have towards each other, then I'm afraid you are in for trouble. So make the best of it, as Selassie is saying. Make sure that you are enjoying each other no matter the distance. Make sure you are being creative. Make sure you are committed to it, and make sure you are making all the compromises you can afford to have to ensure that that relationship stays on course.
Well, I think that is a very good one. Thank you so much, Chris and Selassie. I think it's been an awesome conversation, you know, being in a long-distance relationship. And if you are going through that, then I hope that this conversation did benefit you one way or the other. I'm going to give you my sex tip for this week, and it's one that I call the sleeper hold.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's only because it's a nice, comfortable position to hold each other. So this is what I say is, I say this is a comfortable sex position if she's pregnant, for that matter as well, because I know that sometimes people ask that, what are some of the good positions for pregnant people? So so this is one that would benefit you if you are pregnant. So I say that you both lie on your sides facing the same direction. So the man is behind her. She bends her knees and pushes her rear back toward you for easier access to her vagina. So you adjusting, and the lean of your bodies will vary the angle of entry and help with rocking and thrusting too. So to give her that sensation of greater width inside her, from, you know, it's a bit like the spooning position. So from the spooning position, have her bend and lift her leg, you know, top on, or lift her top leg up, and then you can also adjust your position so that you are more on top of her hip rather than directly behind her whilst you thrust and move. And so yes, enjoy this, and let me know what you think of. Also, do send me your messages on bedtalk@abnradiouk.com. You know, email me on bedtalk@abnradiouk.com if you've got anything that you want us to talk about. Have a lovely weekend. We will be right here, same time next week. And so do join us again next week. Take care for now. Thanks.
From the Sky News Centre at 11, the Swedish DJ Avicii has died. He was just 28. Simon English reports.
Hey, brother. He's known for massive hits like